So once again, good evening, everyone. Hi, I'm Jonathan Blake. I'm joined by uh, Mara Steiner, our congregant, and also our congregant Jocelyn Sontag. I can add you as well. There she is. Jocelyn has been working with us along with her daughter Haley, who they together do travel planning, and we're so lucky to have them helping out on this experience. We're really excited. And we're here to kind of give you an overview of the experience that we have planned for the last weekend in June, which is a Temple FreeBirds trip to Montreal, one of my favorite cities, probably being my, I don't know, 12th or 13th visit to Montreal. It's just an amazing city. Totally in love with the culture, the food, the people, the language, the arts, the scenery, the just the beauty of Quebec and of Montreal, the history and the Judaism. So all of those reasons prompted me to say in a conversation in the fall with Mara, who has been doing a lot of work with and for our Freebirds initiative, which is our many different cohorts of empty nesters who are congregants at WRT. Um, let's talk about some off-site travel again. The last time Freebirds ran a trip off-site was actually spring of 2019. And as we mark 5 years since the pandemic, you can assess why we haven't been doing much off-site travel, but we're excited to bring some back. And this is sort of a soft launch with a 3-day weekend experience in Montreal. So what we're going to do this evening is kind of walk you through the itinerary and the logistics, and then answer any questions that you may have that we are able to answer. You'll be receiving an email tomorrow from the temple. It's going to our entire Freebirds listserv. So if you have never participated in anything Freebirds before, if you think that the temple might not have you on our list, just let us know and we'll make sure you get all of the information. But we'll be sending out information about the trip. That's actually in the email I'm going to show you tonight. So I have a draft copy of that email. And Jocelyn, Mara, anything you want to add before we go into the details?
Let's just start and we'll go from there.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up on screen. So this is you're going to be able to see the message that you're going to receive in your email inbox tomorrow. So this is our Freebirds and trip. And by the way, big shout out to our new graphic designer, Derek Oscarson, who did this awesome workup. We're really psyched to have him on our team. So we are planning a weekend in Montreal, June 27th to 29th. That's 2025. That's coming up in just a few months. Um, Please note the cost of the trip will be 600 per person, which includes a number of meals and experiences. That does not include the airfare and hotel. So we're going to say more about that. What do you get for your $600 registration? That is lunch and dinner on Friday, dinner on Saturday, a Jewish food tour, a tour of Old Montreal, that's on foot, tickets to either Jazz Fest featuring Samara Joy, the Grammy-winning astonishing jazz vocalist who also happens to be a protege of our own Pete Malinverni. I'm trying to see if Pete can join us on this trip, by the way. That is TBD, but it would be pretty cool. Or Cirque du Soleil, and we'll say more about those tickets. We are holding presently 24 tickets to Jazz Fest for the Saturday night show and 16 to Cirque du Soleil. If you've never seen a Cirque du Soleil show, first of all, it was born in Montreal. It's really cool to see a Cirque du Soleil show anywhere. The show that's actually on Roosevelt Island this spring is the same one that is going to be under the big top, so big circus tent at the old port of Montreal, late spring and into summer. This is actually the last weekend of Cirque du Soleil. For the show, it's called Luzia, Luzia, if you want to look it up. It's sort of themed around old Mexico. Any Cirque du Soleil show, you will have your jaw on the floor. And again, Samara Joy is going to be an amazing performer. So the hardest thing for me to tell you about this trip is that you can't go to both because they're happening at the same time. Your $600 also includes a $50 Uber gift card so that you can get around. We decided against a bus taking us all over the city. It's actually an easy city to navigate both on foot and by Uber. So we're going to work out a system where you can actually have $50 uploaded into your own Uber account on your phone so that we can get around. And Jocelyn or Mara will be happy to explain how that will work. We've also blocked off a block of rooms at the Omni in Montreal, the Omni Montreal, which is beautifully located. It's downtown, but it's also in the Arts District. It's across the street from McGill University, and right just like 3 blocks away from the Musée des Beaux-Arts, the art museum. And there's going to be a link in the email that you will get tomorrow that you can click to book your room. Um, and the itinerary goes like this. So you arrange your own flights. If you want to come early and enjoy more days in Canada, wonderful. The Laurentian Mountains are beautiful this time of year, and there's a lot of stuff to do in and around Montreal that is not included in our trip. So if you'd like to come early, that's great. The tour will officially begin Friday at noon. So we have a reservation at a lovely rooftop hotel slash restaurant, Terrasse Nelligan, which is in the old city, cobblestone streets and uh, beautiful architecture. It will remind you of Paris, and that is intentional. Um, Quebec is fully bilingual, so you don't need to know French, though even using a little French goes a long way with the local clientele. After lunch, we have a guided walking tour of the old part of the city. Um, that will end with us arriving at our hotel for check-in at 4 o'clock. Uh, Quick freshen up, and then a dinner very close by. Again, either a short Uber ride or about a 25-minute walk from the hotel to restaurant Balos, which is lovely Greek Mediterranean. And that is just around the corner from Shabbat services at Temple Emmanuel Beth Sholem, which is the Reform Temple, the Reformed congregation in Montreal, a community beautifully led by my friend and colleague Rabbi Lisa Grushko, whom I am still trying to touch base with her, but the intention, the hope would be that she would meet us after services at the Oneg and then spend a little time with us talking about Jewish life in her city, some of the challenges that Canadian Jewry faces, a little bit about the her perspective on the dynamic between Canada and the US these days. Who knows what that will look like in June? And you can see a couple of clarifying comments here. The restaurant is just 3 minutes to the temple, so you don't need an Uber to get from dinner to the temple. And then you can either walk or take an Uber back to the hotel. Um, Saturday, it's a lovely hotel, restaurant, and bar. We'll get up, we'll have breakfast there. Um, there's a uh, short walk. That's actually, we're going to take an Uber to the top of Mont Royal Park. And from there, we'll kind of walk around and get to have a panoramic vista of downtown Montreal with a front and center view of the beautiful painted mural of Leonard Cohen, who is really the cultural icon associated with Montreal. He died a number of years ago, and we're actually going to go down to where he's buried and say Kaddish at his grave after we do a little Leonard Cohen Torah study. If you don't know what that means, good. I haven't figured it out myself yet either, but I will in time for our trip. Um, but he grew up in Montreal. You'll learn a lot more Leonard Cohen history and some music as well. And that is all at the park, at Montreal Park. Um, Afterwards, we'll go back to the hotel, and you have lunch and the afternoon on your own, and we will give you a guide to a few of our favorite places, both to eat and to shop, or to museum, because we didn't include any museum visits on the trip, but we included a little time so that you could take in at least one. Um, we have a group dinner very early, and that's because evening entertainment is right afterward. And this really will be on a first come, first serve basis. Once you've registered for the trip, you have a choice of a 7 p.m. Jazz Fest, Samara Joy at the Place
So,
des Arts, as part of the Montreal Jazz Festival. And all of these, by the way, are links so that when you get the email, you can click on any of these bold-faced highlights and learn more about them. Or a 7:30 Cirque du Soleil show at the Vieux Port de Montreal, the Old Port. And for those who are up for it, I'll be hosting a nightcap at one of my favorite pubs, Pub L'Île Noire, which is just lovely, and they have a massive whiskey library, and it's just a fun place to hang out. It's a quick trip, so we're already on the last day.
mhm.
Uh, Coffee on your own. Don't fill up too much because Sunday is all about eating, but we'll be moving, so you'll feel somewhat virtuous that you are burning off some of the calories you take in. We'll check out that morning. You can store your luggage at the hotel. There's a lo lovely hotel concierge. Jocelyn's been working with the concierge at the Omni and has found them very helpful and friendly. And then we have a guided tour that is a Jewish neighborhood food tour. So we'll get a lot about the history and the unique tastes and styles of Montreal from a Jewish perspective. And that will go till 1 o'clock. You'll be well fed. We'll end the tour where we began back at the hotel, where you can pick up your luggage and get an Uber to the airport, depart on your own. If you are booking your flights, I would not book your afternoon flight before 3 or 4 p.m. And possibly later. And again, if you want to stay longer, you are more than welcome to. So that's what we have in store for you. I could be wrong, but when I have traveled to Montreal recently, I have found, like kind of like premium economy or basic economy seats for under $400. If you want to fly business class or first class or on points, you have the option to do all of that because you're arranging your flights on your own. But it's a 45-minute flight, and there are multiple flights daily from New York airports. I don't think there's a direct flight from Westchester County Airport. I think you have to fly out of the one of the big ones, JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark all fly in and out of Montreal, direct flights. It's under an hour flying time. And you do need a passport because you're flying to a foreign country, but they pretty much make it pretty easy. So just you will need to make sure your passport is current. And again, so long as you're ready to start the tour at noon on Friday and stay with us until 1 or say 2 p.m. on Sunday, you're on your own for that. We can talk about the rates of the hotel rooms. I think Jocelyn will be the right person to comment on that, or Mara, you may know. But all in with $600 plus flight plus hotel, this trip could still cost well under $2,000 a person, I believe. So Mara, Jocelyn, do you want to chime in? I can stop the screen share, or we can return to it if need be.
All right, I'll chime in. Let's see if Jocelyn gets in
I
there.
was trying, no, no, I was trying to find I can't turn anything back on.
There we
There
go.
you are. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay.
Go first.
Nope.
Okay.
Jocelyn's on a
So,
cell phone. Clearly, that's not working so well.
all right. So I'll start. Just two issues I wanted to talk to you about. The
I,
Uber cards. We went
I
through the
know you
itinerary.
just asked about the room rates, which I think if you just click on someone asked about the,
Jocelyn, we're not getting you so well because I think your cell phone signal is not so hot, unfortunately. Um, and I
She's
muted
muted now.
because we weren't able to hear you. But if you click on the link Jocelyn was saying, it will take you to the room rate. So I'll do that while Mara is speaking.
Okay. So two things I just wanted to comment on. The Uber cards. We went through the itinerary in detail, figuring out where everything was and how long it would take everybody to get there. If it was a 25-minute walk, well, maybe some people didn't want to walk, or maybe some people wanted to ride. So that's why we got this Uber gift card. So you can make your own arrangements on an Uber or jump in with other people on Ubers, or if you feel comfortable, you can walk too. We just wanted to give people the option to do whatever they felt they were comfortable with. Um, Breakfast
All
is
right.
not included. That's what I got.
All right, this is the map for this is a one adult room, I'm sure it's the same for a two adult room as well. The event dates you can see they're flagged with this little blue dot on the 27th and the 28th of June. So if you're staying over just those 2 nights, it is 269 Canadian, and the Canadian dollar relative to the US dollar is very favorable. It's about 70%. So we'd actually be talking about, less than three-quarters of that rate in US dollars. So 269, somebody can figure out what 70% of that is, but it's probably low 200s.
It's in the high twos.
With
Canadian though, right?
No, in converting to US.
So it'll be the low twos plus tax and all the other stuff. Awesome. Okay, so why don't we open it up? Other thoughts, questions, comments? You can use either the chat window or you can just start talking.
Do you think we could be that Canada will be the 51st state by then, so we won't need our passport?
I have many Canadian friends and they have said Canada is not for sale. And I said, yeah, but we're not talking about buying it.
Exactly.
I really hope not.
I do too.
So, Jonathan, it's Fred and Ann. We've been to the festival probably 20 times. So we have a list of restaurants, excuse me, that if anybody wants, I can send it to you. We're going up on the 29th because the acts we want to see start on the 29th. But everything that has been laid out is really kind of cool. And I encourage you to do everything that Jonathan just suggested. There's also, if you want, Jonathan, there's a Jewish walking tour that's not a food tour. And that's also a terrific one. And there's
Cool.
also boat rides on the St. Lawrence, which are really cool. But I'll send you a list of some restaurants you can send around.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, I mean, I keep coming back to Montreal because I find that it's such an approachable city and it's like being in Europe. And also just as a rabbi, as a Jewish person, I mean, it really fascinating Jewish culture in Montreal, distinctive from any Jewish city in the United States, with its own regional foods and Jewish practices and Jewish cultural and religious issues that the city is facing. So we'll get some learning in, but I think that it will be the really delicious kind of learning. Thanks, Fred. Right, and if you want more days of Jazz Fest, you can plan that. I think it's a 4 or 5 day festival.
It's longer than that. And if anybody wants to stay until the 30th, the greatest act I think that's ever been up there is Avishai Cohen, who's an extraordinary bassist. He plays with a pianist and a drummer, and you think it's going to be something bland. It's the most electrifying jazz we've ever been to, and he plays at the Place des Arts, one of the two places, and he's going to be there on the 30th. Also on the 30th, I know this is going to sound strange, but Jeff Goldblum, the actor, is an extraordinary pianist, and he's got a funny, funny group. They play classical jazz, but they have a lot of fun, and they're going to be there on the 30th as well.
They also don't forget about the outside acts.
Yeah.
We have seen some terrific people just walking around.
Yeah, you could literally just spend your whole weekend strolling the city, taking in jazz. I mean, we're gonna obviously that's gonna be part of the texture and the fun of the weekend. That the city really comes alive with music.
They also have a lot of acts that are not jazz per se.
Right.
Correct.
We've seen a
Right.
lot
Even
of
if you're that person who
rock-
says I don't like jazz, don't
No.
get too hung up on the title.
There's 5 outdoor venues, and some of them enough room for 300 or 400 people. The big one is room for about 3,000 or 4,000, and it's absolutely jumping and it's extraordinary. So there are 5 acts. They block off about 20 blocks of the city. It's almost like a 5x4, and it's really just
you can
fantastic.
see rehearsals.
Yeah, in the afternoon, if you go in the afternoon, you see all the rehearsals.
Outside,
Yeah, the outside, and sometimes they're just extraordinary.
Well, thank you for
Well,
saying that.
and thank you. And I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yes, we can.
We can. that's a perfect idea for that Saturday afternoon that everyone's free. So that would be a great, thing if a couple of people wanted to get together and do. That's a great idea for Saturday.
Absolutely. Other questions?
I have a question. Can you
I
hear
see.
me?
Yes.
Thank you so much for putting this together, all of you. It sounds amazing. I have always wanted to go to this jazz festival, but I was a little intimidated because I didn't know how to approach it because it's so spread out. And so it was kind of daunting. And I'm definitely looking for a little more jazz and would stay longer to do that. So will you help us to find that alternative jazz? And I guess if we got closed out of the Cirque du, oh, I guess it's included in the 600 as one of those tickets. Well, okay. But you'll help us point us in the direction of other jazz. And I don't know who the couple was that was speaking, but I would love to talk to you as, a fellow Temple member
You
about
guys
all
would
your
totally hit it
expertise.
off, by the way.
Oh,
So
good,
Susan,
good, good,
you
good.
and Seth, I'll introduce you to Fred and Ann. Fred's very easy to spot in a sanctuary.
Yeah, I can tell from here,
Yeah.
but no, all awesome.
Well,
So I
well,
just want to make sure that we get advice on the other jazz that's around and
so,
for longer. And
so
also, if we have, I think we have an Airbnb, which would be near that old city. So that's okay if we don't stay
Absolutely.
at the
Right.
right
That's
as
going to
well.
be, I mean, the
Okay.
only thing is that's going to be like the common meeting and
Yeah, but that's fine because I just know that we
yeah,
can
but
get
it's
there.
it's a
Okay.
very easy city to
Yeah,
navigate. It's
yeah.
very easy to meet
Mhm.
up with other people.
Right,
Well, the
right.
the
Yeah.
only thing that I'll just present as part of this is
Hmm.
that we guarantee the certain number of rooms to the hotel. That
Hmm.
if we don't meet those rooms, then the temple is on the hook for the rooms. That's part of
Oh,
being able to get a rate like this.
yeah.
So if I just have to put that out there because we're all obviously in the interest of the synagogue and we had to do this in order to be able to present this. So it's not anticipated that people are going to stay on their own. It is anticipated that everyone's going to
Okay.
stay together
Okay.
at the
All
hotel.
right. Okay.
So Susan, I just want to add, in addition to the restaurants that I'm gonna send to Jonathan, I'm gonna send you the URL for the jazz festival itself.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
has every act, where they are and what day
Right. Right.
so you can see
But
that.
also to know what's good, like the kind of information that you were saying is just great.
Yeah,
So
we've
thank
got a
you.
couple people who can guide you on that, including
Yeah.
Fred.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Mom and Dad, hi, I see your hand up. Just unmute.
Yeah.
The last time we were in Montreal, we had a fabulous private tour guide. I'm wondering if that person would be available.
Yeah. I introduced my folks to my favorite city this past summer. We went with them and yeah, I'm really looking forward to
That's great.
being both among the
He's the
people
group
and
leader.
out front.
Yeah,
The
it was
group
Yeah.
leader.
fabulous. I'll just put in a couple of words of things that we found fabulous. The hotel really is, as John said, 2, 3 short blocks from the Musée des Beaux-Arts, fabulous art collection. So that's easily, a couple hours to kill, right? 10-minute stroll from the hotel. Great, great museum. And I think Mom and I are going to plan to try to go to the Jazz Fest because we saw Cirque du Soleil last time. But for people who have not seen Cirque du Soleil, it was beyond measure. It was just spectacular. The venue was great down on the harbor. Um, so if somebody is thinking about that, that comes with a 4-star recommendation. And more than that, we didn't have a bad thing to eat anywhere.
Yep. That's the other reason I love this town. Anyone who knows me knows that that's going to be important. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the pitch.
Sure.
I know nothing about Amtrak overnight train, Valerie. You might want to look into that, or Jocelyn can look into it. I have driven to Montreal many times, so
That's what I was about to say. I have a friend who's from there. She drives all the time.
yep,
And she very rarely flies. She drives.
yeah.
And when I've
You
gone,
can
I've
do the
flown.
drive if there's no traffic in about 6 hours. I usually split it up with lunch in the middle in like Saratoga. But it's a beautiful drive. It's a straight shot up 87. So you go up 87 through the Adirondacks over the border into Montreal. Now, here's the thing. What you can't predict is how much time they're going to keep you at the border.
Right.
And that can be a breeze or it can be very much not a breeze. Like I have had many experiences of driving to Montreal with no headache whatsoever. And I've had a couple of times where I've been sitting at the border for 2 to 3 hours. And that is not fun. Audrey is kind of our resident Montrealer here. So hi.
Hi. I think we're going to drive. We might go up a day ahead because I like to look around. But it's not a bad drive. I would try to avoid the border at lunchtime. I went up with my Mechatonim once from Saratoga, and we ended up at lunch, and it was 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I think if you can work around that, you'd be all right. It might be half
Yeah,
hour.
like I said, I've hit the jackpot on that a number of times, and I'm like, oh, that was breezy. 20 minutes and and you're over. But there are other times where not. But you have to factor in that even though it's a 45-minute flight, you still have to deal with, you know, it's still an international flight. You have to deal with
Right.
TSA and all of the rigmarole that goes with plane travel.
And don't you have to go through the border when you fly too?
You have to go through customs. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
easy. They don't make it impossible, but you still have to do the thing.
It's really easy at the airport. There's a video terminal. You basically put your face into it, and 30 seconds later, you walk off with the thing that says, "I'm not going to steal anything, and I haven't brought marijuana in," and you're all set.
Yep.
Of
Yeah.
course,
And
for
most
us,
most people find it easy. For whatever reason, the last time I went with my folks, they gave us a hard time about our luggage and needed to inspect every single item in our bags, and that has nothing to do with Montreal. That has to do with TSA and air travel these days. So, other questions? I'll emphasize that, space is limited, largely because of the number of tickets that we pre-purchased for the evening entertainment on Saturday. But not so limited that, I don't think it's gonna well, I think we have up for room for up to 35 folks. And there are 20 people joining this Zoom tonight, many of whom are couples. So that's, if every single one of you signs up, that's a full trip. Jocelyn, anything else to add? Mara, anything else? You guys have been
No,
incredible.
I mean, I think that you showed the link. I think that's the easiest part. I mean, it's really like booking a hotel room online. If
Yep.
anyone needs help with flights or anything, feel free to reach out to me. I don't know if my email's on there, but I'm happy to help. Um, the meals, kind of Mara has rubbed down a million restaurants and menus and all of that, and it all looks fabulous. And the Ubers, if anyone needs, this is the other thing I was going to say. If anyone is uncomfortable or has never used Uber before, we're happy to. We can even get one of the high school kids to help install it on your phone. Or, I'm happy to meet someone at the temple and sit and work with Uber, and we'll figure out how to get all the Uber gift cards uploaded before the trip. So couldn't be so.
Thank you. You and Mara have been amazing. You guys have
That's
been just
a pleasure. Our
taking care of
pleasure.
everything from the very beginning. We're really excited about this. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. All right. So look for the email tomorrow. We're still putting finishing touches on it. I'm sorry I can't send it out tonight, but it will come from the temple. And again, if you have any questions, just you can ask me, and I might tee them up for Mara or Jocelyn. And just bear with me if I don't personally get back to you tomorrow. I've got a bit of a bonkers day. Since you are now my captive audience on Zoom, all are invited to a very special program tomorrow. The former CEO of the American Jewish Committee, David Harris, will be in conversation with me and Rabbi Morgenstern at Young Israel of Scarsdale tomorrow evening at 7:30 p.m. All are welcome. Don't bring bags. There will be a security check. Bring ID. So that's tomorrow evening at Young Israel of Scarsdale, 7:30. David Harris in conversation with Rabbi Morgenstern and me. And it's going to be a really powerful night. Talk about anti-Semitism, the state of the world today, the war in Gaza, Iran. We won't miss anything. Okay.
He's a rock star. I
Yeah,
just want to say
truly,
he's
truly.
really a rock
Yeah.
star
If you've never
speaker,
heard David
and
Harris,
I'm so excited.
yep. Thanks, everyone. All right. Stay well. Hope you're going to be on this trip with us. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.